More anti-Christian bigotry from Toronto's city bureaucrats, and again, it centers around Yonge and Dundas Square, the outdoor square right in the downtown core. For some background, Yonge and Dundas Square is like Canada's version of Times Square in New York City. Sometimes it has concerts or festivals going on, open to the public, but most of the time it's just an open block with pedestrians and hot dog carts and buskers. There's some religion down there too. As we've shown you before, there's a permanent booth on the sidewalk where Muslim men hand out free Korans to passers-by and try and convert them to Islam. As we've reported, that same booth also hands out books advising Muslim men how to beat their wives if they don't obey them. So it's a real free speech zone. Oh, except for this guy, Reverend David Lynn. Remember him? He would stand on the street corner not 50 feet from the Koran wife-beating guys and preach his Christian mission, sing some Christian songs, until one day the cops came, seized his equipment, and charged him with illegal busking.
You can sing without the mic, that's fine, but you can't have the amplifier.
Can you show me the Bible?
Sure I can, but I can also write you the 104. Do you want that? And I'm going to seize your hand. Is that the way you want to go right now?
Can you show me the bylaw?
Is that the way you want to go right now?
Can you show me the bylaw though?
Okay.
Well, that was pretty obviously anti-Christian censorship, charging a Christian pastor with illegal busking as if he were a commercial singer and seizing his equipment, but naturally not touching the nearby Koran kiosk. Well, our viewers crowdfunded the hiring of a civil liberties lawyer, Sonia Schickman, to take Reverend Lynn's case to court, to fight for him using Charter of Rights arguments of freedom of speech and freedom of religion. And the bureaucratic bullies backed down. It was a victory. And the anti-Christian censors of Yonge and Dundas Square had a defeat. But look, they're government bureaucrats. They're like the Terminator. They don't give up. And now they're back. And here's the latest news. As I mentioned, Yonge and Dundas doesn't just have buskers and hot dog carts. They do real concerts, and their website invites all manner of artists to apply to use the official concert space, including these guys called Voices of the Nations. Here they are doing a free concert earlier this year.
I have heard a sound coming on the winds, changing hearts and minds, healing brokenness.
By the way, they've had the same concert there for 5 years. People love it, and even if they don't, so what? Free country. That's exactly what Yonge and Dundas Square is. It's a public square. If you don't like the music, keep walking. Within half a block, you won't even hear it over the noise of downtown Toronto traffic. Well, here's the thing. Voices of the Nations sings songs about, well, brace yourselves now, they sing about Jesus. Yo, I know it's shocking. I mean, you saw that clip of their concerts. It's shocking stuff. I'm joking, but Toronto City Hall isn't. They hated it, just like they hated Reverend David Lynn. So this year, when Voices of the Nations applied for another permit to do their concert at Yonge and Dundas Square, they were turned down. And when they asked why, they were told it's because they sang songs about Christianity. And that, according to the bureaucrats, was illegal proselytizing, as in an illegal attempt to convert someone to their religion. So, having a booth specifically for the purpose of converting people to Islam and handing out Korans and wife-beating guides is fine under the no converting people policy, but singing a song in a concert that happens to praise Jesus, well, that's illegal in Canada. Now, when I first heard about this, I have to admit I was skeptical. Did a city bureaucrat really say that this choir was banned because their songs were too Jesus-y? I mean, come on. That just sounds too far-fetched. Can you imagine a bureaucrat telling the gay pride parade they were too pro-gay to use a public square, or a Muslim group they were too Muslim, or a Jewish group was too Jewish, or a black group was too black? It just sounded incredible, too far-fetched. But the person who applied for the permit had a sense of what was going on. I mean, he could tell they were about to be blocked. So he recorded the phone call. I'm going to play it for you now. This phone call was made by Leye Oyelani, the events coordinator for Voices of the Nations Choir. As you can tell from his name, he's a new Canadian. He's black, by the way. Now, these bureaucrats would never keep someone named Mr. Oyelani out of this public square because he's an immigrant or because he's black. That kind of discrimination would be shocking. But they kept him out because he's also Christian. That kind of discrimination is the new normal. Here, take a listen to the phone call. He's talking to Natalie Bellman, the manager of events for this city-owned public square. Just listen.
Okay, well, I've already advised Peter that we're not going to be permitting you guys this year for next year because of the proselytizing on the square. And that's a big issue for us. I know that in the past years we've had discussions with you, or at least my predecessor did.
Oh, really?
Had meetings with Peter with Peter with regards to the proselytizing, and outlined very specifically what was allowed and what is not allowed on the square, and that was not adhered to this year.
Oh, Natalie, sorry, just to clarify, did we prophesize this year at the event?
Yes.
We did?
Yes. Your performers did.
One of the performers did? Okay, in terms of
Yep.
prophesizing, what do you mean? Like, do we mean like speaking, like, or just singing? Or...
Well, it doesn't matter if it's speaking or it's singing. Either way, if you're praising Jesus and praise the Lord and there's no God like Jehovah, that type of thing, that's proselytizing.
Okay, so are you saying that, is this definite, or
No,
you
this
can
is
still
definite.
reapply?
This is done.
So it's
You guys
definite.
were given warnings after last year and spoken to, and nothing changed. And you were spoken to on site and weren't willing to make any changes during the proselytizing. So no, we can't risk putting you back up on stage again.
I have to tell you, if I didn't hear it with my own ears, I would not believe it. Anyone can sing in that square except Christians. Anyone can proselytize in that square except Christians. And even just singing the words, praise Jesus, is considered illegal proselytizing. This is outrageous. Now, we've left messages for Natalie Bellman, the woman on the phone, asking her to explain herself. And we've invited other city bureaucrats and politicians, too. I'd like to hear their explanation for this. Now, they've refused to explain themselves. They refused to answer to the public or to taxpayers. Instead, they hired a fancy PR firm who sent us this brief email claiming there was no discrimination and all sorts of religious and political groups used Yonge and Dundas Square. Well, yeah, that's pretty much my point. All sorts of religious and political causes are welcome, except one. Look, I know anti-Christian bigotry when I see it, and it seems to happen a lot in Yonge and Dundas Square. We've fought these anti-Christian bigots before with Reverend David Lynn, and we won. I'm pleased to say that our friend John Carpe from the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms has joined the legal fight, firing off a scorching legal letter to the bureaucrats on behalf of Voices of the Nations, demanding that they lift their ban on Christian music. You can see a copy of their letter on our website at www.antichristian.ca. Well, that's a fight I want to be a part of. If you want to learn more about this case and sign a petition to the City of Toronto to demand they end their anti-Christian bigotry, click here or visit antichristian.ca. And do more. Join with me in helping to cover the legal expenses of the fight. You can chip in at the same website here to help level the playing field. But we're not done. Click here to watch my interview with John Carpe, the lawyer who leads the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. He'll tell us the legal case against the city bureaucrats and how he intends to fight. Watch it with me by clicking here.